Forged by battles, refined by fire, built for purpose. I am Alpha A BET-DAWID, and this is where pain becomes power. There was a time in prison when my life was not just in danger, it was being planned. There were people waiting for the right moment, the right opportunity, the right place, and their intention was clear. They wanted me dead. But what they didn't know was this: God had already made a plan, and the protection He sent came from the last place I would ever expect. Months earlier, long before all of this happened, before the mob boss who later became my protection arrived in the range, an incident had taken place. There was a dangerous man inside. His name carried some weight. His reputation was known. His name was Mega. One day, I found myself in a confrontation with him. Not just him and two of his associates. I stood alone, 3 against 1, and they did not prevail. That moment didn't end the situation. It planted something deeper. Because in prison, defeat or any challenge of some sort does not get forgotten. It gets avenged. Months later, I began to hear things, whispers, movements, conversations stopping when I walked by. Then the truth came out. Mega had twin brothers, and they were on the range. They were gathering people, associates, support, and they were planning revenge. The plan was simple: wait for me to go into the shower. 3 or more of them would go in. They had prison-made knives. Their goal was not to scare me. Their goal was to stab me to death. And in prison, when something like that is planned, there was nowhere to run. I had only 2 choices: either allow myself to be stabbed to death or take a stand and fight for my life. I chose to stand and fight. But a few days before the attack was supposed to happen, someone new arrived in the range. A young man. No one knew him. No one had heard of him. I didn't know him either. But somehow, he knew my situation. He knew what was being planned. And the way he moved around me, it was like he had been there when everything started. But he hadn't. From the moment he arrived, he stayed with me. If I went to the shower, he stood guard. If I went to eat, he stood beside me. If I was in an open cell, he stood outside the door. Everywhere I went, he was there, watching, standing, present. And because of him, my enemies couldn't move. They couldn't find the moment. They couldn't get the opportunity. What they planned in darkness, God disrupted through one person. To everyone else, he was just another inmate. But to me, he became my protection, my backup, my shield, my angel. Then something else began to happen. Slowly, the group started breaking apart. One person left the range. Another got transferred. Some were released. Others moved on. Little by little, the people who planned to kill me disappeared, until only 1 or 2 remained. And at that point, they were no longer looking for revenge. They were looking for peace because they realized I was not an easy target and the plan against me had completely fallen apart. Then one morning around 6 a.m., the guards came. They came for the young man. It was his court date. Before he left, he said goodbye. He told me, if he's found guilty, he will come back. But if they release him, he won't return. That day passed. Then evening. Then lockdown. But he never came back. That's when I knew he was gone. And I might never see him again. But one thing was clear. I was deeply grateful. This was a young man who had just met me, yet he stood with me, committed to protect me, put himself in danger for me without hesitation, without obligation, without explanation. He just did it with no questions asked. Years later, after I gave my life to God, the Lord revealed something to me. That young man was not there by coincidence. God had sent him. Whether he was aware of it or not, I do not know. He was there to give God time to dismantle the plan, time to separate my enemies, time to preserve my life. Because my story was not finished. Let me say this to someone watching. Sometimes God's protection doesn't look supernatural. Sometimes it looks like a person, a stranger, a helper, someone who shows up at the right time, stays longer than expected, then disappears when the assignment is finished. And you don't realize until later that God sent them. If you're still here today, after situations that should have taken you out, after plans that were formed against you, after danger you didn't even know about, that's not luck, that's protection. Because when your life still has purpose, God will preserve it, no matter the circumstances or the environment you're in. Your survival is not random. Your life is not accidental. And every time God protects you, it is evidence that your purpose is still ahead of you. Your pain is not punishment. It is preparation. Know Him, grow in Him, and walk boldly in the life you were preserved for. This is Alpha A BET-DAWID. If this testimony spoke to you, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who may need this message, and subscribe so you don't miss the next testimony in this journey. And I encourage you, leave a comment below and share what this message meant to you. If you believe God has ever protected your life for a reason, write the word preserved in the comments. Also, if you want to go deeper into this journey, you can find the links in the description below to purchase my books, Timbo, A Victim of God's Purpose, Volumes 1, 2, and 3, where I share the full story and the lessons behind these experiences. Because your story matters, your journey matters, and your life is not random. I'll see you in the next testimony.